As Kenyans come to terms with the loss of Raila Odinga at the African Union chairmanship race, the local political landscape is set to change following his return.
My plan now is I will go back home, and so many things to do back home.
To start us, when Odinga vacated the local politics momentarily, Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o was placed at the helm of the party leadership on an interim basis. A decision that K24 TV understands was strategic in a bid to allow Odinga return to the top leadership. ODM seemed prepared in what one would call a multiped for whichever way the election goes.
Leading to the elections, ODM was a very divided party. Remember Sifuna on the other side, James Orengo pulling on a different side, then Kaluma and Junet pulling in a different side. So the first impact is that, number one, ODM has to do housekeeping. They will have to do a little bit of work to ensure that there is healing, because the infighting that has been going in ODM has actually caused rifts that could actually be quite consequential.
President William Ruto was keen on inheriting Raila Odinga's backyard, but will have to rethink his strategy as the AU bid flopped, which was aimed at keeping Odinga away from local politics.
Just remember, as we are speaking today, the courts have ruled that Azimio la Umoja have the majority in the National Assembly. And if Raila picks that and says, okay, I have the majority, and so my people, one, I want to be the Speaker of the National Assembly, two, I want to this. So there will be a lot of some kind of upheavals, and which will definitely go a long way in affecting government service delivery. At this point in time, I find that the president is caught between a rock and a hard place.
Part of the new strategy is to ensure that Odinga sticks with the government. Already proponents of the government are pushing the narrative of a referendum that will see the adoption of the NADCO report and make Odinga the Prime Minister of the Ruto-led government.
The NADCO process will take a little bit of time. But then will Raila be sitting outside there? No. So the proponents of this plan want him to come in, first of all, quickly as a Prime Cabinet Secretary. Then you move Mudavadi to Parliament as a Speaker of the National Assembly. Of course, during that, you can also jettison Kimani Chungwa. But then it has got other consequences in different perspectives, because the little support from Central Kenya, for example, that is left, once you do away with Ichungwa, who has actually been very steadfast in supporting this administration, you will also lose the other Mount Kenya pillars that are existing.
But before then, as the NADCO process may take a longer time, a discussion is said to be on the way that will see Odinga take over as Prime Cabinet Secretary in under 2 weeks or so, that will see Wetangula edged out of the National Assembly, with Mudavadi taking over his place as Wetangula finds his way to the cabinet.
If you throw Wetangula under the bus, then you have thrown 200,000 votes from Bungoma away, okay? You probably will affect the dynamics in the rest of Western Kenya. If you throw Kithure Kindiki under the bus, then you lose the Meru completely and the Tharaka, and you can say, forget about Mount Kenya region. So, to be honest, at this point, I don't want to be President Ruto.
People within the same circle who actually are also opposed to that, because they think since this administration's weakness, the only strong pillar has actually been Parliament, it will be dangerous to actually allow Parliament in the hands they consider of a weaker person.
Buoyed by the ruling of the High Court on House leadership, ODM has been keen to take over House majority leadership. The other option analysts are fronting is Odinga returning to the people and forming a formidable opposition.
That Raila decides to walk away from President Ruto, then it also comes with other costs. Because, you know, there's a joke being told. The president is very good at weaving words, and he could easily come around, huyu mjamaa wa vitendawili, si mimi nilimkampenia huko AUC na si alishindwa. Sasa ningefanya nini? Sasa saizi amekuja nyumbani tena anataka kunisumbua. Bana, wachana na mimi.
We can have actually a post-election agreement. There is no closure to that. They can always find ways of actually filing a cooperation agreement, a coalition agreement with ORPP. That can always be done. Two, they can always also still cooperate amorphously the way they've actually been operating. all of us, everybody knows that ODM is cooperating with Kenya Kwanza.
Based on the recent goodwill messages, Odinga's hard-hitting opponents appear to be softening stance, including former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who extended a collaborative hand to Odinga in the event he loses the election.
He simply learned from the impeachment to play to the gallery. Otherwise, Rigathi Gachagua's base was actually happy with Raila's loss. When the rest of the country, especially those that were supporting Raila, were actually mourning, you saw people celebrating in Nyeri. Specifically, if we were to talk about the primary base, Rigathi Gachagua's primary base, it was actually very happy, including Rigathi Gachagua's lieutenant.
Whereas pundits maintain that Odinga will stick with the government owing to visible loopholes, the pressure is also mounting on him to return a favor he owes Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka from his 3-time presidential support. His party, ODM, has categorically indicated that it will file a candidate in 2027, whether Odinga was to win or not. And with Odinga now in the picture, the question is whether he will vie in 2027 or not. Time will tell. Martin Opio, K24 TV, Nairobi.